Hey planners, it's Tay of ShawntePlans and welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to another one of our behind the scenes type of flip throughs. So we are going to be flipping through all of the spreads in the October section of my planner, and I say that because the last week of October is actually in the first week of the November section of this planner, but we'll be going through the ones that are in our October section. We are at the end of the month of October, and this is when I like to do a flip through and share with you guys sort of my process of how I plan and what goes into my planner spreads. And this is my second time doing one of these videos. You guys seem to like the last one, so that made me really excited, and I'm very happy to continue doing these types of videos for you guys. So first up we have our October dashboard page, and this was a really interesting one for me. I loved this page. I have had such a strong connection with pumpkins this year, and so as I was going through trying to decide what deco sheet I wanted to use, I saw the pumpkins and immediately knew that I was so inspired. And I love that feeling when you're seeing a deco sheet and you're immediately inspired by it. For me, most of my inspiration comes from looking at the stickers that I have in my collection, and I like to take time and just like flip through my sticker books, see what I have in my stash, see what I can pull together and what might coordinate with each other, and what different types of elements I can pull in that'll enhance what I'm going to be using. And so I immediately decided on wanting to use this deco sheet because of the pumpkins, and then I also knew I wanted to bring in silver foil because I hadn't used silver in a while, and I knew I wasn't going to have any silver spreads in my October section. Everything was going to be like mostly gold, and so I was really excited to play around with some silver foil as well. When I was finished with this spread, it was really interesting. I remembered looking back and thinking, I wish I had done maybe like a contrasting color with the washi tape that I decided to pull in, because even though I felt like the washi tape complemented the florals and the color scheme of the deco sheet, I felt like by pulling in the pink washi tape, it kind of made the color palette much more pastel and a little bit more spring looking to me. And I feel like because when it comes to like dashboards or monthly spreads, you really only get 3 months. You get September, October, November to really take advantage of getting to use deep, bold, fun, like rich colors for autumn, because winter sort of lends itself to being much more like frosty toned colors, and of course spring is when you get to use all these pastels and stuff. And I've always felt like autumn gets cut a little bit short because of the holidays, and so I felt like it was a little bit of a missed opportunity for me to go in more of a light toned color direction with this spread, because there really aren't very many opportunities to pull in like your darker toned or rich toned washi tapes and stickers and things onto your dashboards or monthly pages. So that was the only thing, like as I look back, I wish I would have done that a little bit different. But other than that, I love how this spread came together. I really love those pumpkins. So stinking cute. Then we have my monthly spread. I love this so much. It's so beautiful. I love the neutral tones, the tans, the browns, and of course the pops of gold. It's just, I definitely feel like this is such a wonderful color palette for autumn. And the inspiration for this, and I remember when I bought this deco sticker sheet, these were from Red Lyrics, and I remember when I purchased them, I immediately knew I wanted to use them on a monthly spread, and I just thought those crates were just so cute and just so visually amazing. I loved the wood grain next to the florals. It was just so beautiful to me. And I feel like some stickers just all by themselves are kind of just like statement pieces, and that was what those were to me. And it just was like, oh, it's just gonna make such great focal points on the page. And as you can see, of course, I did pull in more pumpkins. I did this spread during a plans change episode, so while there isn't a video on my YouTube channel, there is a video on Instagram of me actually planning out this spread in case you were wanting to see it in process. It is on Instagram. So and not on my Instagram, it'll be on Rachel of Gathered Plans, her Instagram. If you click on that center tab, is where the IGTV videos get stored, and all of our plans change episodes are on her IGTV channel on her Instagram. God, I hope that was clear. Anywho, I had so much fun with this spread. I loved all of the elements on this deco sheet, all of the clothes, the florals, just again. And what I've come to realize, it's been really an interesting journey in trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my monthly spreads, because I originally started this year trying to use sticker kits, and it wasn't until September when I decided to just not use a sticker kit and just try to use deco sheets and washi tape and stuff I had in my stash to create my own monthly spread. And it was when it really just sort of clicked for me, and I started finding a way of doing monthly spreads that I actually really enjoy. I also feel like this is sort of becoming like a signature thing for me now. Rather than marking that I do a midweek post on Instagram multiple times in a row, just straight down this column, I mark it once and try to show that it spans a range of time, which I really enjoy, and I just think it visually is just so pretty on the page. I also thought I did a really good job of just like filling in different things so that the spread itself didn't feel very bare and sparse, which can be kind of interesting on my monthlies page, because I've decided to start using these as more of like a social media tracker of things that I'm doing and planning for like video posts and Instagram posts. And so a lot of that actually happens on like Sundays and Wednesdays for me, and so there isn't too much that happens throughout the other days of the week. And so I do like that I'll pull in other things that are happening that may be like big things for the month, paydays, the beginning of the month, and anything else like that. But for the most part, I like having this as a place where I can just mark out what I'm doing with social media. And also none of this actually happened. I pre-planned my monthlies, and October just really did not happen, which if you guys have seen my YouTube channel, you've seen only one video went up in October, one Plan With Me spread. None of the other weekly spreads from October have videos to them. And so this is our first weekly spread in the month of October, and this kit is from Simply Watercolor Co, and this is her Persephone kit. Going into each of the weeks, I had a very strategic focus on wanting to make sure that each spread had its own sort of unique embellishment and self-expression. And it was very purposeful in the way that I was trying to make sure that the embellishments that I brought into the kits, sort of the decorative elements, I guess I would call them decorative elements, like the different headers, dividers, and on this page, I brought in these just amazing brush strokes, and then all of these Art Deco Gatsby themed stickers from Sadie Stickers. She had an amazing $2 Tuesday sale, and all of those elements really complemented this kit really well. But it was very intentional from week to week, wanting each spread to have its own personality, and I didn't want to repeat the deco elements that I was doing on each page. And I feel like this happened with like 2 different spreads this month, and this was definitely the first one where the first thing I wanted to avoid was using a lot of bows. This kit itself, it's named after a Greek goddess, Persephone, and when I was looking at the full boxes, which to me look like individual works of art, they're just so incredible. I loved all of the watercolor painting elements in them, which was what inspired me to bring in these brushstrokes from Nettie Designs, because I felt like it really complemented and enhanced what was happening in each of the full boxes. And then wanting to have the dividers that, the headers and the dividers that I pulled in from Sadie Stickers, because it had just these really sort of like graphic, more geometric style prints. I thought that felt more authentic to what I was getting from the vibe of the images in the full box, and really sort of played off of that well. And I love bows, don't get me wrong. I think bows are incredible, amazing. You're never going to get away from them because they're on most of my icons. But and that doesn't bother me, but I feel like a lot of times when it comes to bows for like washi tape or for headers or things like that, we use them a lot in our planners because bows in and of themselves are such a neutral design. They're really fantastic. They go with lots of things. They're totally season neutral. You can use them and it doesn't have any sort of season specific connotation to it or event specific thing to it. And so it makes it something that you can work into a lot of spreads seamlessly. And it's one of the things that I love about bows and why I use them and why I think they're so popular and prevalent in the planner community. But I've just felt like for some of the spreads that I was doing this month, challenging myself to sort of step away from doing that and then also focusing in on what I thought was going to be the best in terms of enhancing what was already happening in a spread. I didn't feel like bows were the best representation of that with this spread in particular. I hope that makes sense. And I really loved it. There were so many just fantastic elements. I really loved all of the different design elements that were pulled into this particular spread. Possibly like my favorite thing is these brush strokes, because they felt so much fun. And I really enjoy writing on the page because I'm a white space planner, so I like breaking up the different boxes that I'm using as I'm going down the columns with writing directly on the page. But by bringing in those brush strokes, it was almost like bringing in just like a wash of color and having that as the background. And so while not writing directly on a half box or a quarter box, I was able to sort of write on the page but also bring some color to the area, which is really nice because most of the icons that I personally like to purchase and use in my spreads tend to be simply just foiled icons on white premium matte paper. And so to have just like a white icon on white background next to just my writing, sometimes that can fall a little bit flat for me. It doesn't always bother me. I don't want to give off that impression because that doesn't bother me, but I just feel like when I have something like this versus having the option to bring in something that gives me a little bit of color, especially when it coordinates so well with what's going on in the kit, it just to me enhanced it and did something more for this particular spread, which was why I really enjoyed pulling in all the different brushstroke elements, and also layered really well over some of the half boxes and gave a nice background for some of those icons to help them pop as well. So really fun. I enjoyed that element a lot. It was really funny. I got to this point and started pulling in these mini mandalas from the Pretty Pink Co, and it was where I felt like I'd kind of missed the opportunity to use those a little bit more. And I just remember thinking that I liked the way it looked with this with the images, and because I had like gone more than halfway through the spread before I finally decided to pull one in, I didn't end up using a lot of them, but I did like that accent. Kind of a little bit of a missed opportunity there, possibly. I don't know, maybe if I had done more I would have thought it was too much. Sometimes that can happen, but I'm happy with what I did there. Moving into our second spread, and this is a kit by Paper Muse Crafts. Honestly, the first thing that just strikes me every time I look at this spread is the colors. It's such a colorful autumn spread, and it's one of those things where it's like you really think of all the different colors that you get in autumn with the leaves changing and just going into that season. It's really a beautiful, colorful time, and I think sometimes you can think of autumn as being a lot of more deeper or muted colors, but I think what I really loved about this was that it was so rich in color and so bright and so fun, while still not feeling summery at all. It totally is. It's just very autumn, but just really rich in color. It's always the first thing that strikes me every time I look at this spread. And so again here, same thing where I made the decision to opt out of utilizing bows. Although bows, I mean, absolutely could have worked well to complement this spread, but because it was so autumn specific and we had these really great just sort of autumn elements happening in the kit itself with the pumpkins, the mushrooms, more of the fall foliage, and very fall images. What was really fun, I had these great pumpkin header overlays from Simply Watercolor Co that I had bought last year, and they matched this kit perfectly, and so I just started putting them over some of the washi strips, or excuse me, the headers, the colorful headers that came in the kit, and I just really loved the pumpkins, which I also brought in. These date dots are from Simply Watercolor Co as well, and that was a lot of fun because I tend to use the same date dots pretty consistently. I have some date dots from Rose Color Days that are my favorite. I love using them. I use them all the time, but it was really nice to sort of take a departure from that and pull in something that was very season specific with the little pumpkin date dots, and I thought it just enhanced the spread even more. And I absolutely cannot overlook and overstate how much I love the bowstrung boxes that I brought in from the Giving Girl. She created fall themed bowstrung boxes. Her classic and original bowstrung boxes are some of my favorite unique shape boxes in the planner community. And when she released the fall version of them, I immediately jumped on it. I knew I had purchased this kit, and so I knew she had a deco sheet that was the deco sheet that excuse me, the box sheet that I had picked up was going to match it perfectly. She's just some great colors, and that made me so happy. And so I tried to pull them in as much as I possibly could with this spread because I loved the pumpkin shape, the acorn, and the leaves. It was just so cute and so just fall fabulousness. And it just created just these really great focal points, and that was one of the things I was really focused on this month, were focal points and unique embellishments to enhance and differentiate the spreads for each week, from week to week, and I felt like that happened really well. Another thing I did with this particular spread that was a repeat of an element that I had done in a spread like earlier this summer, and when I did it originally the first time in the summer, I don't even think it wasn't like purposeful, from the standpoint that it was one of those things that just I started layering and placing down stickers, and it just happened, it came together, and I fell in love with it. But what I had done was I put down a header and then layered one of these vine leafy stickers from Honey Inked on top of it. And at the time, I only had these on a sampler on like a the Gathered Plans freebie from Honey Inked, and so I didn't have a lot of those particular vine stickers, and before I'd done this spread, I had ordered some, and so I had now like a full sheet of them to play around with. And as soon as I got them, I knew I remembered doing this on a previous spread and wanting to bring that element into another spread and play around with that, because I just really loved the way it looked visually. And so I did that with a couple of the headers throughout this spread because I just really love that. I also got to play around with those, embellishing some of my half boxes and different icons and things like that. I love those vine stickers. I think they are very much sort of an eye-catching statement piece on a spread, and so it's really fun to play around with layering them. I think they work well as a focal point all on their own. If you're doing something like layering them on top of a header, I think they layer well underneath icons. They really just bring a lot of visual interest to a spread, in my opinion, and it's one of those things that as I was saying, from week to week, I was trying to find different ways to really enhance each spread, and I just thought those worked so well on this particular spread. A lot of great things that I love about this one. I am a little bit torn this month in choosing which spread is my favorite for the month, and this is one of the two spreads that is tied for being my favorite. Going into the third week, this kit was from Rose Shadow Collection, and this is her Colors of Life kit. And every time I see this kit, it always makes me think that this kit is just such a beautiful celebration of Black women, and as a Black woman, that just like was the first thing that caught my attention. I fell in love with it. I loved the images and the artwork. She had so many full boxes that had fashion girls in them, which is unusual for me in a kit. Typically when you get a kit, there's like one box with fashion girls and the rest are like different prints and things like that. And I'm not someone who likes utilizing a lot of fashion girls in a kit. Like if I'd wanted to, she gave so many boxes with fashion girls. Every single full box on this spread could have been like a person, which would have been overwhelming for me, which is why I decided to just go with 4 people and then 4 non-people boxes. But this was also a really interesting kit because it was very much sort of I don't even know if you would, I couldn't even consider it a mini kit. She had like a full kit, but even with the full kit, it wasn't formatted like a typical full kit. Didn't have bottom washi or date covers or a lot of things. And then I ended up purchasing it a la carte anyways. And so the only thing I had when I was doing this kit were the full boxes, half boxes, and quarter boxes. And so I was pulling in a lot of things from what I already had in my collection to complete this kit. But immediately, and again, for me, the vibe of this spread, which I loved this washi tape that I ended up pulling in from Michael's. This strip on the bottom was very much inspired by the hills that are happening in the background of these 2 full boxes. I just thought that was so appropriate and so perfect. The peachy tones, which matched this perfectly, and the purple tones, which matched this perfectly, it just all tied together so well. I still have questions about this top strip as to whether or not that was the right choice necessarily. I go back and forth. Sometimes I look at it and I really love it. Other times I look at it and I go, I don't know. But the bottom strip I'm obsessed with, and I thought it worked so well with this particular kit. but again, I was definitely avoiding bow headers and avoiding bows, because I feel like this is, especially with when I think about the bottom washi, I think this would have been a really easy place to pull in just like a white washi with gold bows on it and just like call it a day. But I didn't feel like bows matched the vibe of what was happening in the images in this kit. And so what I did was I ended up pulling in these really amazing, what are these, her thin lace washi strips from Bloom Paper Studio. And even with the ones that I chose, like my favorite for pairing with this particular kit was this one, which is why I used it so many times throughout this spread, because to me it had like a very graphic, geometric almost type design to it. And it felt statementy in a way that I felt really emphasized what the emotion that I was getting from the images in this spread, from the full boxes. I really loved that and complementing those and all of them. Also had a lot of fun playing around with layering. What are these, like the half mandalas from Honey inked underneath the scalloped half boxes from Panda Bird Design. So beautiful. I love that detail. It's definitely a technique that I have seen Rachel from Gathered Plans do a lot, and a lot of other planners, and I definitely picked that up. Rachel did some layering with a half scalloped in those Honey inked half mandalas, where she layered like 3 or 4 of them. It was crazy gorgeous. I'm not at that level. I did like just two layering, 2 layers. So I have not stepped up my game to layering 3 or 4 of them on top of each other, and the way she did it, it just came out so gorgeous. One of my favorite spreads from her. It was one of her recent spreads, but the way that that element came out, I did really like. And then of course it's just the amazing focal point in the sidebar with the way I marked the monthly, putting together the 2 half mandalas to form a full mandala, and then using the October script to cut through that. And again, certainly not an idea I originated on my own. I've seen other people put half mandalas together, and I saw it, was inspired, and thought it was perfect for this particular kit. It definitely, you know, almost makes me think of like the sun or a flower, or just something just really beautiful statementy at the top of the page there, which just very much works to me with the images that are happening in this spread. I think that sometimes there are some kits, and I feel like I felt this way about the Persephone kit from Simply Watercolor Co., where sometimes the full boxes themselves almost look like works of art. And I think sometimes when I see that happening on a spread, it inspires some different things in the way that in the types of embellishments that I want to pull in and the things that I want to do. And the interesting thing for me with this kit, I look at this and this was definitely one, I remember where my head was at this particular week. I was so busy. It actually took me a long time to even finish this spread. And 2, it's definitely one of those spreads where if I could go back and redo it, I would definitely do some things different. And I look back on it and there are things that I would change about this particular spread. But I also feel like that often happens when I have spreads that I'm very emotionally attached to. And for me, the emotional attachment comes from the images in these full boxes, because she had created such a gorgeous kit with all of these images of beautiful Black women. And so the good thing is I still have several more full boxes, because the kit itself, even ordering it a la carte, came with like 16 full boxes. It's just like tons and tons of full boxes. So I don't know, I may end up doing another spread and using the leftover full boxes that I still have and doing something else with that, and give myself the opportunity to sort of do it again, because I look back on this and there are definitely some things I would change, although I do love this spread. Now we come to our final spread of the month, and this is from Peach Palm, or excuse me, the final spread in this section, because actually the last week of October is in the first week of the November section in this planner, but we're going to stick within our October section. So the last spread is this one from Peach Palm. And this is the other one that's tied for first place in terms of me really trying to decide which was my favorite spread for this month. These colors are just very true to my personality. I love them so much. And I think she did such a great job with balancing the colors that she included in this kit and the color options that she gave us, which is just so amazing. Sometimes I feel like you can have either too few or too many dominant colors happening in a spread, and not just like your neutrals like white or black or sort of like accent colors, because there's definitely a lot of white happening in here, but in terms of the colors that are more of your like pop colors, you've got the tan, the blue, and the pink happening. And when I get 3 colors like that, I really like it because it allows me to have a lot of great balance in alternating the boxes and half boxes and accents and things that I'm using, along with around the full box that are happening on the page, and it gives great color balance. Sometimes I get kits where they've got 4 really strong colors, and that always feels like way too much for me, and a lot of times I feel like the spread comes across looking a little too busy. And then sometimes I only get 2, and alternating becomes really difficult, and the spread doesn't look as visually dynamic when that happens for me, and I'm always wanting something else, another color to alternate between. I find myself struggling, and so I thought she did a really good job giving a great balance of color across this kit, which I think she does really well anyways. When I stop to think about kits that are designed really well to my personal style and taste, I am someone who likes to alternate and try a lot of different things when I'm planning from week to week. But if I were to sort of think about what my style is, Peach Palm kits and the way she designs them, her design aesthetic, the way she formats her kits, definitely for me, it's just always a home run. I am very much a fan of her kit style and design. So the elements that I decided to bring in for this spread to really make it sort of unique and make it its own self-expression, although I did bring in a lot more bows for this particular spread. I brought in the bow dividers. I went back to those pumpkin date dots, which I thought worked really well to accent the pumpkins that were happening in this spread. But I brought in some of my absolute favorite headers, and these are from Panda Bird Design, and not just my favorite header like from her shop, but my favorite header in the planner community. I love this header so much. It's such a gorgeous, sleek, very chic design. I really love this, and I love it. It's just a really beautiful dainty vine design. Again, something that's very neutral. It reminds me of pulling in like a bow header, because it's not something that really clashes with what's happening in a full box, which is always nice when you're pairing a header on top of a full box or pairing it with anything else that's happening on the page. And again, one of the reasons why I think bow headers are so popular, because they tend to not clash with what else is happening on the page, which is fantastic. And it's one of the reasons why I love this particular header as well. She is sold out on them at the moment, and as soon as she restocks, I am stocking up on those because they are my absolute favorite header. Really love how I did my sidebar this week as well. I just, there's so many things I love about this particular kit. The designs, all the elements, it just really came together beautifully. I had so much fun playing around with this weekend banner, and I pulled in these other headers. Oh my gosh, and these so intricate, so beautifully designed, so much detail to them. I love them. And so they're headers, they're clear headers, and so you can use them as header overlays on top of colorful headers if you'd like, or you can use them the way that I did, where I just put them on the page, even though they were clear headers with like nothing underneath it, and they just look gorgeous because the focus is just on the intricate design and the way the foil pops off the page. It's so stunning. And this is from a new shop. This was my first time using these headers in a spread, and they're from Iconic Imperfections. So gorgeous, and I really thought that they worked really well, and I thought it was a good balance because, again, the vine headers that I brought in were very chic, very minimalist, and pairing that with something that was also a vine design but a lot more intricate really emphasized the leaves and the leaf and vine prints that were happening throughout the kit itself. Also worked with the very, with the much more dainty leaning style that you get with a peach palm kit. And so, again, I felt like I was taking my cues in deciding what embellishments and what elements I wanted to pull in to enhance the spread from the images in the full boxes and from the design of the kit itself. And that's definitely something that I try to think about, because I think it ends up making the spread look very, very natural, very cohesive, and pulls together really well and makes it something that's just really visually engaging. I personally had so much fun with this spread. It's definitely one of my favorites. I've always reached to call it my favorite spread of the month, and then I look back at this one and go, oh, but wait. And so I'm very much torn, and at the moment these two are tied for my favorite spreads of the month. I can't make a decision, I can't make up my mind, but I'm very happy with both of them. And we have reached the end of our October section. Thank you all so much for going through yet another flip through with me. When we reach the end of November, we will continue to flip through. I will continue to make these videos as long as you guys are enjoying them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all having an amazing day, and I will see you next video. Bye.